In the spring of 1241, a storm unlike any other swept across Europe. The Mongols, fierce horsemen from the steppes, had already crushed the mighty kingdoms of China, Persia, and the Khwarezmian Empire. Now they stood at the gates of Christendom. Poland burned. Hungary lay in ruins. And just as Europe braced for the worst, the Mongols disappeared. But what if they hadn't? What if Genghis Khan's heirs had not turned back? What if Europe had fallen to the horde? To understand how close Europe came to total conquest, we need to grasp the power of the Mongol war machine. Historian Timothy May describes the Mongol armies as arguably the most efficient military force the medieval world had ever seen. They weren't just warriors. They were strategists, engineers, and master organizers. At Legnica and Mohi in 1241, entire European coalitions, knights, infantry, crossbowmen, were annihilated in days. European heavy cavalry, the pride of Christendom, proved helpless against Mongol speed, deception, and deadly composite bows. Historian John Gillingham puts it bluntly, no single European power could have mounted a defense sufficient to stop them. So let's imagine the unthinkable. Batu Khan doesn't turn back. The horde advances. Vienna falls. Paris burns. Rome surrenders. What happens next? Historian Thomas Alson explains that the Mongols rarely destroyed ruling elites. They absorbed them. Local kings and dukes would remain, but as vassals, paying heavy tribute to the great Khan. Feudalism finished. In its place, a census-driven, centrally managed empire. A Europe ruled not by fragmented lords, but by the laws of the Yasa and the iron will of the Mongol court. And what of the church? David Morgan writes that the Mongols viewed religion as a tool of governance, not an enemy. They allowed Buddhists, Muslims, Christians, even shamans to worship freely, as long as they paid tribute. In this alternate timeline, the Pope survives, but no longer as Christendom's supreme authority. Rome becomes just another city under the Great Khan. Imagine cathedrals standing beside Buddhist monasteries and mosques, a Europe where religious pluralism arrives centuries before the Reformation. But the Mongols were more than conquerors. They were globalizers. Janet Abu-Lughod calls their empire the First World System. They secured the Silk Road, connecting China, India, Persia, and the Mediterranean. Historian Morris Rosabi notes that this trade boom sparked unprecedented commercial and cultural exchange. If Europe joined this network, the Renaissance could arrive a century earlier. Gunpowder, paper currency, advanced metallurgy, even printing, all flowing westward under Mongol protection. A globalized Europe. Born in the 13th century, the Mongols didn't just take, they blended. Jack Weatherford writes, they absorbed the best of every culture they conquered. In this alternate Europe, Mongol architecture fuses with Gothic design. Urban planning transforms medieval cities. A new cosmopolitan elite emerges, warriors, merchants, and scholars from every corner of Eurasia. This isn't the Europe we know. This is a Eurasian super-civilization. And the ripple effects. Historian Stephen Turnbull argues that Europe's age of exploration was driven by a desire to bypass Asian land routes. But if those routes were safe and Mongol-controlled, Columbus may never set sail. No Spanish conquest of the Americas, no Portuguese empires in Asia. Perhaps instead, Mongol-backed expeditions reaching the New World first. Could they really have held all of Europe? Turnbull warns of the limits of empire, long supply lines, dense European fortifications, and the Mongols' greatest weakness, themselves. Succession crises shattered their unity more than any foreign enemy. If the Mongols had conquered Europe, the world would look unrecognizable. Feudalism gone. The church humbled. A Europe woven into a Mongol-led global order. Its future tied to the East, not the Atlantic. As historian Jack Weatherford put it, the Mongols reshaped the world more than any other people in history. Had their horses galloped further, that reshaping might have been complete.